Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is Black Forest coming to you with another market analysis video. This morning, we're going to be looking at the Great British Pound USD, okay? But before we get started to break down the currency pair, we have to say that this is for educational purposes. This is not financial advice, but we all know why you guys are here, which is to find good, credible Forex information that can help improve one's ability as a trader and help put a little bit of extra money in your pocket, okay? Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and break down this currency pair. Now, you know at Black Forex, if you've been watching our videos for some time, you know what we like to do before we break down the technical analysis. We will talk about fundamentals, what is going on with the British pound and the USD. Okay, so what's going on with the British pound and the USD? Let us talk about the British pound first. Okay, now the British pound, Great Britain did have a lot of inflation hanging over it, and there's also several factors going on with the British pound. First of all, Great Britain is suffering from inflation. Secondly, they also place sanctions against Russia that's having a reverse negative effect on them, which those sanctions are starting to hurt them more so than it's actually hurting the Russian economy. Thirdly, all of its trading partners are either in inflation through all its trading partners that's in the European Union is suffering from inflation and also having a negative ripple effect on the sanctions that the nations that make up the EU placed on Russia is starting to kind of backfire on them now. And being that those are its closest trading partners, that is also having a negative effect on its economy as well. Okay. And also, we also have the simple fact that the war is still being fought on the war is still being fought on the European continent, and which means that there is a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt with the European economy as a whole, just because of the war between Russia and Ukraine, and being that the British pound, Great Britain's major trading partners, are in Europe. Naturally, it's going to have effect. It's going to feel the effect on its economy from that war. Okay. So British pound is considered one of the major three European currencies, which is the British pound, the euro, and the Swiss franc. So until we actually start to get some ceasefire with this war, we're going to still continue to see weakness with periods, more weakness with periodic periods of strength with this particular currency. Okay. Now, from a economic news standpoint, the British pound, the British government did raise its interest rate from 50% to 75%. We're gonna have to also see how that plays out towards the to effectively combat inflation in Great Britain. And also, we did have some economic news come out around 7 o'clock this morning that was very positive for the Great British Pound. So we may continue to see some periodic strength happening with it as we're seeing kind of right now. Okay. Now, with the USD, as we said in previous videos, that it is also suffering from inflation. And then we also had some poor economic news come out about the USD in the latter part of the trading week. But also the Federal Reserve in America has also increased its interest rate from 25% to 50%. So we're going to have to see how that's going to play out with the strength or weakness of the USD. With the basic factors being this: if the interest rate combats the inflation effectively and expeditiously, then we will start to see strength happening with the USD. But if the interest rate does not if the increase in the interest rate does not combat the inflation fast enough or aggressive enough, then we start to see more FUD surrounding the USD, in which fear, uncertainty, and doubt will start surrounding the U.S. dollar, and it will maintain its weakness or actually become much weaker than it currently is. So we're gonna have to see, how that plays out during the rest of this trading week. But from a technical analysis standpoint, let's jump into that. Okay. So as we stated in previous videos, we did started to go down some. As we said, there was a possibility we may pick up into this area here before we start going back down again. And that's what's looking like it's going to happen. It looks like we're going to be picking up a little bit more before it actually starts to turn over and go down again. Because remember, with this, we're not dealing with which currency is actually stronger than the other until we start to see how the economic policies play out for each respective currency. We're more so in a situation of which currency is actively weaker than the other. So once we have that knowledge, um, once we have that knowledge to see which currency is actually weaker than the other, it would give us a lot more clarification to what's happening on the charts. But with right now, what we're going to see is probably a push up to this area here before we range out and go back down. Or we could kind of push up initially here and then start to go down from this point here. Now, the only way we can have major price turnover from this point here is if we have a ceasefire and between the Russian-Ukrainian war, that will start to bring a lot more confidence back to the European economy as a whole, and then we will start to see aggressive picks up in strength with the Great British Pound, the Euro, and the CHF. But until we have that, we're mostly going to be leaning towards on the weaker side with those three major European currencies, just for the simple fact of the war being fought. But from a technical analysis standpoint, once again, we could push up to this area here before we start to range out and start to go down, or we could start to range out from this area here, then start to go down. Okay. Like I said, you don't want to necessarily buy this at this point high because it hasn't been this high for a long time. So usually when that happens, you're going to have some retracement comes in, and we don't know how aggressive the retracement comes in. And really, we're kind of in a gray area with this. We don't know if price is truly turning over or we're just having some aggressive retracement before we start to go back down. We're going to have to see how the economic policies put in place by each respective countries is going to play out for its currency, okay? But even though this may looks like a buy for right now, I would be cautious trying to buy it some more because you could probably make a little bit of money off the push up. But if it doesn't hit your initial take profit area, which that take profit area would be very narrow, you're going to start to see some push down, and then you're going to have to wait till you get back to this area here before you start to see the push up again. And let's say that it does not do that. Let's say Russia gets a little bit more crazy. Let's say Ukraine said they're not going to come to the table about peace talks. Then you're going to be in a not so good position. Okay? Always wait for the chart to give you the breadcrumbs that you need. Hope this video was helpful for you guys. Happy trading.